the perpetuation of our political institutions. This is an Abraham Lincoln speech, January 27th, 1838. In Springfield, Illinois. So I just want to read a couple quotes from the perpetuation of our political institutions. Abraham Lincoln is worried about whether or not our political institutions will carry on. Will America stay America? Make America great, keep America great. We're going to make America great again? Oh, let America be America. How then shall we perform it? At what point shall we expect the approach of danger? By what means shall we fortify against it? Shall we expect some transatlantic military giant to step the ocean and crush us at a blow? Never. All the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa combined with all the treasure of the earth, our own accepted in their military chest with a Bonaparte for a commander, could not by force take a drink from the Ohio River or make a track on the Blue Ridge in a trail of 1,000 years. So he's saying, who could conquer America? Who in the world could conquer America? Nobody. Nobody in the world could conquer America. At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reaches us, then it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of free men, we must live through all time or die by suicide. A mulatto man by the name of McIntosh was seized in the street, dragged to the suburbs of the city, chained to a tree, and burned to death. And actually burned to death. But you are perhaps ready to ask, what has this to do with the perpetuation of our political institutions? I answer, it has much to do with it. By such examples, by instances of the perpetrators of such acts going unpunished, the lawless in spirit are encouraged to become lawless in practice, and having been used to no restraint but dread of punishment, they thus become absolutely unrestrained. Having ever regarded government as their deadliest bane, they make a jubilee of the suspension of its operations and pray for nothing so much as its total annihilation, while, on the other hand, good men who love tranquility, who desire to abide by the laws and enjoy their benefits, who would gladly spill their blood in the defense of their country, seeing their property destroyed, their families insulted, and their lives endangered, their persons injured, and seeing nothing in prospect that forebodes a change for the better, becomes tired of and disgusted with a government that offers them no protection, and are not much averse to a change in which they imagine they have nothing to lose. Thus, then, by the operation of this mobocratic spirit, which all must admit is now abroad in the land, the strongest bulwark of any government, particularly of those constituted like ours, may effectually be broken down and destroyed. I mean the attachment of the people. Whenever this effect shall be produced amongst us, whenever the vicious portion of the population shall be permitted to gather in bands of hundreds and thousands, and burn churches, ravage and rob provision stores, throw printing presses into rivers, shoot editors, and hang and burn obnoxious persons at pleasure and with impunity, depend on it, this government cannot last. If the laws be continually despised and disregarded, if their rights to be secure in their persons and property are held by no better tenure than the caprice of a mob, the alienation of their affections from the government is a natural consequence. Is the natural consequence, and to that sooner or later it must come. All the crime is happening, all these crimes are happening, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. You want me to vote for you? Ultimately, people will give up on the government. Here, then, is one point at which danger may be expected. The question recurs, how shall we fortify against it? The answer is simple. Let every American, every lover of liberty, every well-wisher to his posterity swear by the blood of the Revolution never to violate in the least particular the laws of the country, and never to to tolerate their violation by others. As the patriots of '76 did to the support of the Declaration of Independence, so to the support of the Constitution and laws, let every American pledge his life, his property, and his sacred honor. Let every man remember that to violate the laws, to trample on the blood of his father, and to tear the charter of his own and his children's liberty. Let reverence for the laws be breathed by every American mother to the lisping babe that prattles on her lap. Let it be taught in schools, in seminaries, and in colleges. Let it be written in primers, spelling books, and in almanacs. Let it be preached from the pulpit, proclaimed in legislative halls, and enforced in courts of justice. And in short, let it become the political religion of the nation, and let the old and the young, the rich and the poor, the grave and the gay, of all sexes and tongues and colors and conditions, sacrifice unceasingly upon its altar. So he's saying, how can our political institutions maintain? Well, all we got to do is just open up the Constitution. And what does the Constitution say? Well, the Constitution begins with the preamble. Let's just start with the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, the 50 states, the 14 colonies, the 900 to 1,000 military bases, in order to form a more perfect union, we, the people of the United States, are going to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. In order to form a more perfect union, those are the 6 end objects. Those are the 6 reasons why we have a U.S. government. Why do we even have a U.S. government? What's the point of having a U.S. government? Well, I just told you. To form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. So that's just sentence number 1. If you haven't even read sentence number 1 of the Constitution, what fucking values do you have? Do you have any morals? There's people out there that say that they're Christians and yet never read the Bible. They say they believe in God, but they don't know the words of Jesus. You're not referring back to the Bible. You're not referring back to the Constitution. What are you referring back to? Your own selfish, criminal demeanor? It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. I'd rather have a lawful country, because not only do the laws say what you can't do, it also tells us what we can do. So overall, I would love to have my American brethren and sisters, my countrymen and my countrywomen, to look to our Constitution, our constitutions, the state constitution too, to see what remedies that you should employ for your disputes, instead of it being a war of all against all. Are we going to have jungle law? Are we going to have natural law? Or are we going to have constitutional law? If you have no morals and you got no law, then you got nothing. You got nothing at all. So here in America, I'd rather folks petition and assemble and speak and pray and write a letter. Use the press. Be silent. Use the cops and the courts. Use contracts. And a speedy and public jury trial with impartial juries. Vote. Run for office. Use witnesses and evidence to prove their point, instead of having a criminal society who robs and rapes and tortures and abuses and kidnaps and kills and arsons and maims and bears false witness and molests and oppresses and terrorizes and criminalizes. So by having respect for our laws, having our mothers and our fathers read the Constitution to us, we remind ourselves what this country is all about. We remind ourselves what this country is all about. And Lincoln is even saying here that we should follow all the laws. This is before slavery ended, even the dumb laws. You want our political institutions to continually be perpetuated? January 27th, 1838. I got a couple more quotes for you. The experiment is successful, and thousands have won their deathless names in making it so, but the game is caught. And I believe it is true that with the catching in the pleasures of the chase, This field of glory is harvested, and the crop is already appropriated. But new reapers will arise, and they too will seek a field. It is to deny what the history of the world tells us is true, to suppose that men of ambition and talents will not continue to spring up amongst us, and when they do, they will as naturally seek the gratification of their ruling passion as others have so done before them. The question then is, can that gratification be found in supporting and maintaining an edifice that has been erected by others? Most certainly it cannot. Many great and good men sufficiently qualified for any task they should undertake may ever be found, whose ambition would aspire to nothing beyond a seat in Congress, a gubernatorial or a presidential chair, but such belong not to the family of the lion or the tribe of the eagle. What? Think you these places would never... What? Think you these places would never satisfy an Alexander, a Caesar, and Napoleon? Never! Towering genius disdains a beaten path. It seeks regions hitherto unexplored. It sees no distinction in adding story to story upon the monuments of fame erected to the memory of others. It is unreasonable then to expect that some man possessed of the loftiest genius, coupled with ambition sufficient to push it to its utmost stretch, will at some time spring up amongst us. And when such a one does, it will require the people to be united with each other, attached to the government and laws, and generally intelligent to successfully frustrate his designs. Passion has helped us, but can do so no more. It will in future be our enemy. Reason, cold, calculating, unimpassioned reason, must furnish all the materials for our future support and defense. So what he was saying here was, before, right after the revolution, you had mothers and fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers that could tell the stories about the revolution, how it happened. My God, the fucking British was doing the Quartering Act, and then they were flogging us in the streets, and they were living amongst us, and it was awful. The tea tax, they taxed our tea for a penny, and we were pissed off about that. But there was also the Government Act. They shut down our government, and we meant to rule ourselves. We've been ruling ourselves for quite some time, and then they shut the fucking government down. And with that, we've had it. We had it. And then the Boston Massacre, and then, Bunkers Hill, and the shot heard around the world. But eventually, we're not going to have those stories anymore. And since we're not going to have those stories anymore, well then what is going to happen to us? We won't have anybody that remembers how hard it was to fight for our freedoms. So that's just a little bit of Lincoln and the perpetuation of our political institutions, 1838. May God have mercy on their soul. I don't know. I don't know how to end this. Let America be America again, huh?